Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Kotecki from the 21st Space Wing Public Affairs Office, and I'm joined by Senior Master Sergeant Raymond Artis, the Superintendent of Plans and Programs at Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, 721st MSG. I'm also joined by Master Sergeant Ashley Strong, the Dental Flight Chief at Schriever Air Force Base with the 21st Medical Squadron. I've invited them here today so we can have a discussion with some senior NCOs about what it means to be an Outstanding Airman of the Year, and so they can give some advice to the junior airmen going forward into the future. Thanks, guys, for coming.
Oh, thank you.
Senior Master Sergeant Artis,
Yes, sir.
what do you attribute your accomplishment to being named a Outstanding Airman of the Year?
Well, sir, first I want to contribute my accomplishments to 12 Outstanding Airman Year to my family first. Again, I was stationed in Kunsan Air Base, Korea from February 2016 to February 2017. And being there with that mission set, it's kind of like a deployment type of environment, I always got to be ready to fight tonight. So the fact that my family and my wife can, hold it down at home, and that gives me all the support to get me to do what I need to do while I'm there, which is taking care of the people, take care of the mission. At the same time, have time to take care of myself. I always got a chance to get involved and get my education done and just work. I love to work.
There you go.
But besides that is having a strong team that's behind you, definitely strong leadership. I gotta say that Korea, Kunsan Air Base was working for the 8th Comm Squadron was by far the best assignment I ever had. I had the great amount of people, always highly motivated, willing to listen, to develop themselves, but I had the best leadership team that had the support that I needed to do my job and the trust in me to do my job as well. So that is amazing to have. All that combination together is a winning atmosphere. Success is a team sport. Chief Wright said it best.
Thank you. Master Sergeant Strong, what do you credit to your accomplishment of being named an Outstanding Airman of the Year?
Senior Master Sergeant Artis said it really well. Success is a team sport, and I love that our Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force says that often. I think really building a strong team and then trusting that team to carry out the mission and do their job and do it well is a huge attribute to building any winning package, and I was just blessed enough for that to be mine. I will say we have got the smartest airmen in the Air Force, and we get really caught up sometimes in millennials or Gen Xers or Gen Yers, and really I don't think that matters. I think if you trust people, you give them the resources that they need to do their job and do it well, and you allow them the creative freedom to surprise you, you'll be absolutely blown away by what your team can do. And just the fact that I've been able to work with some outstanding teams, both at Peterson, at Schriever, and before that at Aviano Air Base, I've been super blessed. And so I say it's all team. It's definitely team.
That's a great answer. You kind of mentioned millennials and the upcoming junior airmen, and a lot of times what you see is mentorship, getting people into the Air Force way of thinking, the culture of the Air Force. How important is it to a junior airman to have a mentor, and what attributes do you see in yourself that make you a mentor towards junior airmen? Master Sergeant Strong?
I don't even think it's for a junior airman. I think all airmen, civilian, active, guard, reserve, contractors, I think our whole Air Force family should have a mentor. I've had some great mentors in my career. I've had people pull me to the side and tell me when I was needed some course correction, and I've always been very appreciative of someone being very straightforward and not beating around the bush, telling me what I need to know and why it is that I need to know it, not just the what behind it. So I've tried to carry that trait forward as well. I always think it's a huge, hang on, I'm losing my word. I always think it's a huge compliment for someone to ask you to mentor them, but with that comes great responsibility as well. So them trusting you for their career, as I've trusted so many, and Sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But the blessing of it, I think everyone does need a mentor, regardless of where they're at in their career.
Gotcha. Senior Master Artist, can you recount a time in which a mentor made an impression on you or gave you much needed guidance in a time of need?
Good impression or bad impression?
All pressures.
Okay, so
Pressure's pressure, right?
you know, like I said, been for 19 years. I had a lot of good mentors, and I had some ones that probably could use a little more assistance, a little bit more work. But I learned from everything. I learned from the bad experience as well as the good. With me is how much you actually care about me, how much you actually care to sit down, look at my career, where you see where I'm going, ask the questions, get to know me, because we can't do this by ourselves. It's impossible. You can feel like that you don't need anybody, but when it comes down to it, you always need someone to help guide you in the right path. Because a lot of times you're not gonna have all the answers. So I think I'd like to start with my first mentor. He's gonna laugh about this. Is Michael Reno. He was my very first mentor who actually left a hell of an impression on me. Excuse my language, but yes, he came through with stationed together in Hickam, and his energy I fed off his energy and his passion for people and mission. Most importantly, people, and I learned from that too, because everybody needs someone to look after them. Airmen need to know that someone cares about them. You'd be surprised how much you get them motivated and how much you get out of them when it comes to the job. So I was lucky to have that. And of course, I had some other, some chiefs. Chief Michael Morris was another one who actually took me on his wing. That was at Nellis. Young, calm guy, and working at NCC and just trying to figure out where I belong. Where he set me up for success. Sat down, type of person. If you need assistance or you need to seek out somebody, he was there for me. He was there for everybody else, not just me. So I took advantage of those opportunities that he provided. Sit down, where I need to go, what I need to do, how to better myself, because you can always improve. You can always improve. I mean, you may be great at what you do currently, but times is constantly evolving. Things will keep changing. So you got to best improve yourself. The best way you know how is to seek someone who can help you in that path. And he was another one. And I think the final mentor, there's so many mentors, I can't name them all, but when it came down to it, the final mentor I had was Harold Terrence. He's a chief chief now, Chief Harold Terrence, and I replaced him at Korea. And he was actually a 2015 AotY.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
And never been to Korea. He's been there. It was a third tour there. Never been to Korea. Trying to figure out what I need to do to succeed or survive in this type of environment, because I've never been to Korea before. Especially being away from family, all the issues that people focus on mostly when they're there is they worry about what's happening back home. So as long as you keep that contact with them, you should be good to go. With him, he's from day one picked me up, drove me around, got me food. I was in the middle of an exercise. He just took care of me from the very beginning, just gave me all the information to succeed as his replacement. And after he left, he still kept in contact with me to make sure I was doing well. And I reached out to him for advice as well about what I need to do to make things better here for the comm squadron. So his immense leadership and support is by far one of the best I've had. And I'm very grateful that I got a chance to meet him and be there as well. And of course, represent the 8th Comm Squadron again, like he did.
Yeah. Master Sergeant Strong, has there been a mentor that's made an impact when you in a time where you've needed it, or why don't you speak to some of the mentors you've had?
I've also had a lot of great mentors. One of my first mentors that always stands out to me the most is Chief Master Sergeant retired Nathan Turner. And I didn't know that I needed a mentor, but he knew that I did. So when I was an Airman Basic, my very first duty station was Maxwell Air Force Base, and he was a group chief out there. And he would come in. He was my patient for dental, and he came in and he goes, "Oh, wow, you're an Airman Basic." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "I didn't even know that they made you guys anymore." And so we kind of had a laugh. That was the first time I felt a little relaxed around a chief. And he would be literally in the middle of his dental appointment, and he would be asking me, what are the Air Force priorities? What are the Air Force core values? What is your plan for, your next stripe? And, that stripe was going to come with time. There was really nothing that I had to do but show up and, do a good job, not get in trouble. But he made it like it was a plan of action all the time. And he stayed with me throughout my career, even after he retired. Every time I go to test for promotion, he mails me the stripes before the results come out. And so talk about pressure, right? I don't want to ever let him down. And he sends me he sends me words of encouragement. He always reaches out to make sure that I'm on the right path. So he scooped me up before I knew that I needed a mentor, and I'm very lucky for that.
So it seems like a lot of what mentorship is keeping motivation high. When times are getting tough, or you're dealing with adverse conditions, especially
Sure.
Korea or on a deployment or something like that. What is it that keeps you motivated, in the day in and day out? It's not all exciting all the time. And sometimes
Sure.
it's just the grind of being in the military. So what keeps you motivated in those hard times? Anyone, feel free to answer.
Okay, so I'll tackle this one first then. I've always been kind of a self-motivated individual. I like to always want to do great. I always want to be the best at what I do. I think a lot of airmen want that for themselves as well. And, to prove to their peers and their leadership that, I'm a team person. I belong here. And I have something value to bring to the fight and to the mission as well as the people. So that's one of the good things about that aspect of it. But when it comes down to the whole mentorship aspect of it, you learn from bad mentors, you learn from good mentors. So your experiences is what makes you a better mentor as well. So make sure that the people that you bring forth, like what Chief Wright said, lift as we climb. And I heard that twice, first from Chief Harold Terrence and then from Chief Wright. Said lift as we climb. We have to bring up the people behind us. The key thing is we have to train our replacements, because this is not forever. You're not going to be in that same position forever. So you got to make sure the person behind you knows how to do that job and ready to take the reins once you leave. So that's some of the things, sir.
Yeah. And Master Armstrong, what keeps you motivated, when times are tough and the grind is long?
I'm part of the 5 a.m. club, so I learned pretty early if you want to get a lot of stuff done, you got to get up earlier. So I get up every morning at 5 a.m. and I kind of have a routine. I schedule my day similar to I would schedule, my day at work. I schedule my personal time as well. I get up every morning. I tell my husband I love him. I thank God that I woke up. And I do some personal development, whether that's 30 minutes of reading, studying, looking over something, watching motivational videos, whatever it is. I make it a habit to do that every morning, because at the end of the day, there are times that we all wake up and we want to hit that snooze. We just need 10 more minutes, or we say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Today's going to be so rough. I've got XYZ on the calendar. But the reality is when I wake up, I've got a flight of airmen that expect me to come to work with motivation, and they demand that from me. And so I can't be tired for them. The same times that I needed motivation, I looked to people that were full of energy and full of life, and they remotivated me. So.
Can I re-attack that as well too? I got some good things. She sparked something. So when it comes to our job and in our positions, and people look up to us, passion. Passion drives a lot of things I do. Passion for the people, more so, because you can't do the mission without the people, and passionate for as well as life, but with passion for the job. So motivation when it comes for me is, besides again being self-motivated, the need when you see other airmen look up to you and come to you for guidance, and they have their problems, you're there listening to them, and they want your help, and they constantly keep coming. You'd be surprised at the impression you make on people. And that impression alone is also motivation for me to keep going. Granted, I got to make sure that family's on board with me keep going. But as long as my family support me and people in the military, airmen, leaders, they need me to do what I need to do or step up, that's going to keep me going.
Okay, great. Let's see. So you've both been in, between the two of you, 30 years. Master Sergeant Strong, you have, you said 11 years, and Senior Master Sergeant Artist, you have 19.
Yes, sir.
So you've worked for many different kinds of leaders with different leadership styles, that's common in the military. How do you maintain trust in leaders with their different styles and the way they might motivate or not motivate or whatever. And how do you maintain? How do you get the young airmen that you're the mentors and you're the supervisors of? How do you get them to maintain their trust in your leadership style?
I think I love the dynamics of leadership in our Air Force, and I love that I have had the opportunity to work with so many different types of leaders. You always have your favorites and the ones that maybe you can, sync yourself up to more because their leadership style is similar to yours. But I do notice that I learn a lot more from people that have a different leadership style. I think every leader has dimensions and aspects of their own leadership style. So regardless of what type of leader you identify yourself as, you can attach yourself to something about any leadership style. I notice that people that don't do things like I do or agree with me all the time do challenge me and push me, which I'm always very appreciative of. I think for our younger airmen to maintain that trust, you got to walk the walk. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Like, I don't ask people to do anything that I wouldn't do myself unless I don't know how. And I'm saying, hey, can you make me smart on this? You are better at this than I am, and I don't know how to do it. Will you teach me? But the willingness to learn, I think the willingness to do what it takes to get the job done and making sure your people are safe and taken care of, that goes a long way with building trust. And then them seeing you follow the leader even when it's not a popular decision, but it's the right decision. I think when they see you doing that, or they see you maybe taking a different road that isn't always the road traveled, but maybe in this aspect it makes a little more sense to do it a little different. So taking that risk and being open to change, I think that helps a lot with having people trust in your leadership style as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do I follow up with that? So, from my experiences, when it comes to leadership, it starts with trust. Every leader wants to succeed. Sometimes they may not do it the right way or not do it the way you actually wanted it to work. And some people just don't, or some airmen or teams don't gravitate towards that. And there's always going to be resistance to that type of leadership style because everybody changes. You got to adapt to your leaders. You always got to adapt to your leaders. And same way you got to adapt to your airmen. So it's that balance, and sometimes the balance gets sidetracked to somewhere. But it starts off with trust, and hopefully that the leaders also at that point will, regardless of what level I am, how will they include the folks in the process of trying to get things going, again, about making the team better, making the team succeed. So some folks want to just, that whole laissez-faire, let you do your thing and I'm okay. And there's the ones who's like the micromanage, and it's all different types of leadership style. I learned from all of them. It's like the same way Armstrong, she learns from all of them too. But it's be in our position, you gotta be that middleman in between. What's going right and what's not going right. And you got to be that middle between. There's sometimes you're not going to agree with the leadership, but you're supposed to be a change manager. Is that the right change manager?
Agent.
Yeah, change agent for all types of styles. And whether you agree with it or not, you have to take your leader's direction and force multiply it down to younger folks or to the rest of the team so get on board. And sometimes it's not going to succeed. That's apparent. Sometimes we need a little failure to go back to the drawing board to succeed later on. But make sure you just maintain your patience and trust in leadership. As long as they maintain trust in you as well, it's a two-way street. Like I said, sometimes I don't succeed that way. Sometimes we all fail as leaders too. But as long as you keep trying to get the people on board as much as possible, it's one of the hardest things to do. But our job's not supposed to be easy anyway. Our jobs are never easy. So it can get tough. But as long as you know what's the end goal and how we get there, you'd be surprised how many people want to come on board. And sometimes they're just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, sir. I'm gonna do this, man, because it's the right way to do things. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. We go back to the drawing board, but at least we tried, and get behind that leadership at that time as well. That's one of my favorite
well, that's some great insight. Now I'd like to shift focus a little bit to the future of airmen, the future of the Air Force.
Yes, sir.
since you've both enlisted, there's been a culture change in the Air Force. We've been on a war footing for over 15 years. There have been societal changes in the United States, and that the Air Force has had to keep up with. How do you keep up with those changes? And what do you think for airmen that are coming in right now? How are they going to be able to keep up with the changes in the next 15 to 20 years?
That's a really good one. The main thing is, mind if I type this first?
Go ahead.
Flexibility. I think we got to be highly flexible force, because a lot of times you don't know what's going to change. Our leaders are there put in a position to make sure they do right by us, do right by the force. Like I said, we're not always going to get it right the first time, but as long as they're willing to keep trying to get it right, then we should be fine. I believe that even right now, our top three right now, this is probably the best top three I've seen since I've been 19 years. From Secretary Wilson to General Goldfein to Chief Wright.
What about General Mattis?
Okay,
I'm going to have to bring that up.
Yeah, I'll think more on the Air Force right now before I get to DOD wise. I'll think more Air Force right now because that's where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to focus on that. They're out there trying to make things easy for us. Get rid of all the things that don't make sense, and to improve our force to give us more time back to the airmen. That's one of the things too. And with culture change, you gotta adapt. You gotta adapt. I know Sir Armstrong mentioned like the whole millennials and everybody believes in that. He's like, let's get away from that terminology. We all airmen, and we gotta adapt to the new times. Like right now is a social media time. The social media age, and the way we communicate is always gonna be different. But you gotta make sure that this is what they like, but you still can't forget how you came up too. So sometimes people need to communicate via social media, some need to communicate through face-to-face. You can never forget that face-to-face interaction. That's always important. But flexibility is one of the biggest things. There's a lot of unknowns, but as long as you have faith that the leaders are put into place to do right by you and do right by this force, then you should be fine. And if you don't agree with that, you always have a chance to go.
Yeah.
No one's keeping you here.
Yeah. Master Armstrong, what do you think, or what advice do you have for young airmen that, for the change that's coming in the next 15 to 20 years that, at this point we don't even know what that change could be? What do you have to say to those future airmen?
I think we get wrapped up in the change and how do we communicate that and how do we facilitate that being easier. Our airmen that come in today, we tell them a lot of times, when we're telling our stories, well, in today's Air Force, XYZ, this is the only Air Force that they know. So today is their Air Force. So they don't know a different Air Force than that. And I think we can be the ones to jack that up and give them a different impression. Our Air Force is phenomenal right now. This is the best organization to be a part of at this time. And our airmen coming in, they are flexible, they are adaptable, they are millennials or whatever, right? Yeah. So they're used to automatic, and they're used to instant gratification. So when our top leaders and even us at the unit level, when we're making change, as long as we're communicating the why behind that change and we're not just changing for the sake of change, we're changing for a purpose and for a reason, and that reason is communicated, our airmen are going to jump on board. When there's understanding and there's thorough communication and they see the leader walking the walk, they're going to jump on board too.
Yeah, that's great. So let's just then pretend for a moment that you are Airman Basic Ashley Strong right now. What piece of advice would you give to her? She's just graduated, boot camp this weekend. What advice do you give to her?
I'd say enjoy the process. Enjoy day by day. Enjoy what it is that you're allowed the opportunity to do. There's going to be days that you come to work and you don't necessarily love your job, but love the opportunity that it provides you. Love the people that you get to meet. Love the places that you get to go. Love the things that you get to experience that I know I can say for me I never in a million years would have from a tiny little farm in Alabama. So I think just take it a day at a time. Soak it in. Do the best that you can absolutely do that day. And if it's not good enough, then try again tomorrow.
So, Senior Master Sergeant Artist, pretend for a moment you are Airman Basic Artist. What advice do you give to him?
Well, everybody comes into the force for a different reason. Some folks want to come in for a trade. Some want to come from, want to travel. Someone just want to get out of a bad situation. I'm like, okay, I understand that wherever you came out of, they got to make sure that you join the Air Force, and there's a certain level of expectation and professionalism we deserve from you. I'm not trying to say forget where you came from and forget where you're trying to go, but start with that first. You should learn your job first. I tell the folks, your primary mission right now is, first coming out, is to master your job, because you can't master your job and pass those CDCs, and you're probably no good to me or the Air Force, or you're probably no good to yourself as well too. So to get the best out of yourself, focus on your current mission is your job. And once you master that job, I want you to be a force multiplier. I want you to, okay, you excel at this job. I want you to bring others behind you who's not doing so well and train them up as well. So I'm gonna look towards that. That's gonna be at a very young age, or young airman. You're gonna be an airman leader, and once you get over those hurdles and you get past those milestones, you're gonna see other people who are not gonna succeed like you are, or they're pretty gonna struggle like you. Prior they may struggle, and just bring them along. Just master your job and understand that they're gonna be hard times. This is not always gonna be easy for everybody. You're gonna be away from family. You're gonna have some long days. You may be deployed. You may be put in danger, but make sure that you're not there alone. There's people who have been where you have been, and seek those individuals who can provide you the advice to make you better and to survive, be more resilient. Or what Chief Wright said, make sure we are forced to be well led, well resilient, so well trained. So those were the things I want my younger first person coming in. Just learn your job, be the best at what you can do. Just give it 100% every time. You'd be surprised what you'd be amazed. And then when you have hard times, speak up. Don't keep it to yourself, because there's people and there's services there to help you to get through hard times. Communication is key as well.
All right. So then, now that you've been named, both named Airman of the Year, you're each one of 12, and Team Peterson has 2 of 12 airmen, 1/6 of all the outstanding Airmen of the Year. What's next for you guys, and what does that mean for Team Pete, and what's moving forward?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm an individual. I'm a person of faith. I believe in the path that was set forth me is there for a reason. Whatever the Air Force wants of me and want me to do, I'm gonna do it. Again, I gotta reach back to family, make sure they support what I do as well too. Because if they don't have their support, there's no reason me to continue what I'm doing anymore. And then of course the support of my leaders and people around me. Again, that whole part of motivation. So, everybody's talking about ranking up and chief and senior. This future chief right there. It's just if the Air Force deems me ready to be a chief, I'll be a chief. And it just deem me to be in a different position to lead, I will do that. I'll do the best. I'll be the best airman I can be for them and for my people. So yeah.
There you go. And Master?
I think for me, nothing has changed except for the platform that we're giving because of this opportunity. It's right back to work. I mean, I was told by Chief Turner, the mentor that I'd mentioned earlier, every day is a new day to do an awesome day's work. And so it doesn't matter how wonderful you and your team were yesterday. The clock starts over again the next day. And so going out to D.C. and going to the AFA conference was absolutely amazing and once-in-a-lifetime experience. And you stand on that stage when your name's being called, and it is a surreal feeling. But Monday, we're back to work, and we're back to leading our team. We're back to helping our people. We're back to getting the job done. I think the biggest difference is you now have a platform to speak that maybe you didn't have before. So you can share your story and you can talk about, what you feel like got you there and the things that did not get you there. And really, for me, I get to celebrate my team and I get to brag on my airmen and I get to brag on my people that were with me along the way.
That's great. Cool. All right, well, I think that's all we have for you. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.